Let's talk about NFTs and why so many investors like Gary Vee, Mark Cuban, Elon Musk, and so many others are so interested and intrigued by this space. And we're gonna get into a lot of things in this episode. So if you wanna leave down in the comment section below, right before you go any further in this video, about what you think about NFTs, if you've bought some before. I'm curious to find out what your opinions are and if you own any NFTs already, or maybe if you've thought about purchasing, which ones you've wanted to purchase. Without further ado, let's talk about NFTs. Let's go. So before we get into some of the best projects and like what to look for when you're buying an NFT, let's talk about what NFTs are and some of the most exciting NFTs up to this date so far that we're in today, right? So what an NFT is, and I actually heard a video by the man himself, Gary Vee, do a really good explanation of what NFTs are. And basically what he said is that NFTs, think of them as like a skin in a video game.
Can you explain NFTs to me, but like in a simple way? I don't get it.
Do you play video games?
Yes.
Have you ever bought skins or virtual things for your game?
Yeah.
That's an NFT. Let me explain.
Right then.
You wanted that item to be a utility in a world that you cared about, or for the clout amongst your friends and other people by having that thing virtually, correct?
Yeah.
You understand NFTs. That is going to happen to everything in the world, not just the confines of Fortnite.
Obviously, there's a lot of different use cases. You can sell art, you can sell skins, you can sell land, right? All these things can be created as NFT, which just stands for Non Fungible Token. But essentially what this means is like owning a piece of art or owning a skin that is cryptographically packaged and written in code, right? So that way there's only one version of that said thing, right? So if it's a skin in a video game, there's only that one skin, and once you get it, it is yours to keep. And if someone were to copy it, it wouldn't be the same again, right? This is an original copy, and it's verified by the blockchain. So going back to the example of a skin in a video game, if you purchased a skin for $10 and the game blew up and now all the skins have gone up in value, you could essentially sell that skin to other players, right? And so on and so forth. So really it gives creators and game makers and influencers and all these other industries that maybe weren't able to monetize the same way, a new way to monetize their craft. And this is especially important for music artists and painters and digital creators all around the world that weren't able to necessarily monetize or didn't even have the right market that they could reach with their art, right? Because options were limited. But now with NFTs, all of this is coming to fruition for a lot of different people. And that is why creators like Beeple, for example, was able to sell his artwork for over $69 million. Now, it wasn't just one piece of art. Don't get me wrong. This was 5,000 pieces of art, and he was a really interesting artist. Here are some pictures of some of his art. As you can see, it is very, very visual, very powerful, very in your face kind of art. And that is why he was able to sell his pieces for $69 million during the big launch of his NFT project. And what he was able to sell for that $69 million was 5,000 pieces of art, and that is pretty much 13 years of his life's work in one NFT sale. That is absolutely incredible that he was able to make this, and he's pretty much made generational wealth based off of this sale, right? I mean, it obviously depends on what he does with that money going forward, but if he invested in the right way, he pretty much doesn't have to work a single day in his life ever again if he didn't want to. Now, for someone like him, he's probably gonna still make art because he loves it. But this is just the beginning of what NFTs will be capable of, and I see a ton of potential in the next few years for this new technology. Some of the best places to buy NFT tokens are places like OpenSea, Rarible, Super Rare, Nifty Gateway, Foundation, Axie Marketplace, Bakery Swap, and NFT Showroom. There are a bunch of others that you could find if you just Google NFT marketplaces, but given those, that might give you a good start to be able to search for your own NFTs in the marketplace, because there are a ton of potential ones that you could possibly buy. So go out there, go explore. But before you do, let's talk about how hyperinflated this market has become, because just a few months back, or even a few years ago, you know, an artist like Beeple couldn't have sold his art for that much. If anything, it probably would have sold for near zero, right? It would have sold for a lot less than it did now, because now there's a verifiable code that you say, hey, this is owned by me and only me. So that drives value to this particular piece of art, right? And that same thing is what is leading the hype to a lot of these other projects, and people getting super amped about this, you know, exciting technology. But at the same token, I can already see that this is going to have a devastating impact for the 97, 98% of projects, but really the people and consumers like us that are going to be involved in buying these projects at their super hyper inflated prices that they are today. Obviously, there will be 2 or 3% of these projects that will survive for the long term, but we don't know which ones that will be. And that is why it's always good to be very, very careful when you're getting into this space. I would say if you're going to put money in it, don't put money that you would be afraid to lose. Because if you say, I'm gonna put my whole life savings into this, well, let's just say you might not be retiring anytime soon, unless you get really, really lucky. And I like to think of myself as a very, very lucky person, but I would never, ever, ever suggest anyone to do this unless, like I mentioned earlier, you're doing this with a small percentage of your portfolio, something that you're willing to lose. And really, you should be only investing things that you're extremely passionate about. See, if you find an NFT project that you really, really enjoy, that you really just love, that is when it might be worth buying, right? Because you're never gonna have regrets on buying something unless it's absurdly priced and again, you're having to throw your life savings into it. Then I would say probably stay away from that project, probably stay away from the NFT space in general, especially if you have a gambler's mindset. Honestly, this is not the time to be throwing your money into this space if you're just trying to make a quick buck. If anything, that was 6 to 12 months ago. And if I had to give you a piece of advice, obviously this is not financial advice, but if I had to pick for you or pick, some kind of project for myself, I would say look for things that are very, very rare. Something that has intrinsic value to you, but also intrinsic value outside of the NFT space as well. Like a lot of music artists, for example, that might start selling NFTs could sell VIP tickets to their shows. So something like that might have some physical value outside of the NFT space in case the NFT market just plummets straight down. That way you can be confident that worst case worst, if I paid, $1,500 for this NFT, at least I'll get free tickets to any one of their shows, no matter where this artist goes. Now there's obviously other things besides that that could be very, very valuable. That is just one example. But to that point, this space is super, super young, and yet the prices are super, super high. And I guarantee that if you wait long enough, this will start to flip, where the space is gonna get more mature, there's gonna be more value in the market, and the prices are gonna come down to a point where it's gonna be nice and cheap, but for the creators, it's still gonna be well worth doing because they're gonna be making a royalty. And for the companies, they're also gonna be doing really well because they're also gonna be making a royalty off every sale after the initial sale, right? So if I transacted with you, the company would actually make money off of that sale, and then if you sold it to Jim, and then he sold it to Bob, all those times that this NFT was transacted, the company that was behind the project would actually make a royalty. So again, wait for this time. Don't invest during this time where the space is very young and very unlikely for the projects that are out today to survive the long term, but yet the price is very high. Wait for this to happen and the projects are more matured, and hopefully right after a bubble burst, that is when you want to get in and put some of your money in if you're doing this as an investment. Don't do it now unless you're really believing in this project. Again, not investment advice, but just something to consider. That's how I'm approaching this space. This is really just advice for myself, but I hope this brings you a lot of value. And please, please, please make sure to do your own research, because nothing beats out than a YouTuber talking about NFTs or investment advice on the internet than doing your own research. No, but really, do your own research, because that will give you the confidence to make an executive decision that you can be proud of. So hopefully this brought you a ton of value. If it did, don't forget to smash the like button if you haven't already. If you haven't subscribed yet, I don't know why you wouldn't have subscribed. It's cool, whatever. I'm not super upset. It does make me a little bit sad. No, but on a real note, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to go check out the merch, it's just bestmerchever.com. I'll link it down in the description. And if you have any other questions, comments, or anything you want to leave down in the comment section below, just leave it down there. And without further ado, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace out. One last thing, if there's anything that you'd like to know in the NFT space, if you want to know how to buy NFTs, what my personal favorites are, anything like that, if you want to see that in a future episode, just let me know down in the comment section below, and I'd be happy to make a video about it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Feel free to check out the links down in the description below, where you can get a free stock from Robinhood, $20 free from Stash, 2 or more stocks free from Webull, or $10 free from M1 Finance.